Thank you so much for joining today, Athena. It's so great to have you.
Thank you.
So you've been in lockdown now for a while. It's been 2.5 months at the time of us recording this. How are you finding it?
I actually started lockdown 2 weeks before everyone else on March 12th, but I am enjoying this pause. Yes, I miss people. Yes, I miss business as usual, but I like having my time as my own. And I like not having to deal with trauma on a daily basis, living in a disabled female body in this world. It was a world where every time I got on a bus, I would wonder if I would be kicked off. Every time I called a taxi, I wonder if they're going to be patronizing and insulting.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up, I wonder if the lift in my building is going to decide to work. So having a break from that is really a huge blessing. And just sort of having the head space to think and love and write and is really special.
What can we do going forward now, to change that, even just on an individual level? How can we make that better and make people aware?
I think we have to become unafraid of being called out, which is totally against human nature. I look at what's going on right now with George Floyd, and I see the fragility that comes with part of being the privileged mass. People call it white fragility. In my case, it's not just white people, it's able-bodied people. And the humility. We really, really need humility and an ability to trust grace. Grace with each other, that when we mess up, it will be all right. Grace that we don't have to get it perfectly, and we won't. Grace that the story isn't over yet.
Yep.
And there's still room for change.
Yeah, and it's so strange because it does feel like, oh well, we're going back to normal, and the language of it all.
You don't change when you see the light. You change when you feel the heat. And I think some people are feeling the heat right now. I think it's going to take a lot more.
That is such an interesting and really shocking and concept, and I think it's very real and very true.
When China finally released lockdown, birth rates went through the roof, because you suddenly realized, I can't deal with this person, and I do mind.
The divorce rate going up in China, I didn't even know that had happened. That's mad, but understandable.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been stuck with the same person for 3 months, and I hate them.
So you've also said the positive side of this has been you've been able to have time to reflect and to love as well. So how has that looked for you?
So I'm in a bit of an odd situation
Mm.
right now in that I'm in a flat that I own. And in my flat is me, my cat, the person who is supposed to help me out day in and day out. Her name is Emily, and she lives in one of the bigger bedrooms. And then and she moved in 2 days before lockdown started.
Yeah.
And then downstairs is a Lithuanian family, the matriarch of which um is one of my best friends. We've known each other for 2 years. Sorry, 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, the 2 year old, that's where the two came in. And her partner. So there are six of us living in the house, and we managed to spread coronavirus and share it.
Wow.
Um, we managed to have be living in a house where social distancing. How do you social distance with a 2 year old? You don't. How do you social distance with someone who needs to be fed? That's not possible. So I haven't really felt isolation in the same way.
Mm.
There's been moments where I've gone, oh my gosh, can this house please be bigger? Because I feel like every time I turn around, I'm running into someone. Um, but I've really not had the fear and the loneliness and the existential crisis much. I've definitely had my moments late at night, but that's true for anybody. But it's really been an opportunity to grow in love.
Mm. Yeah, I think the existential crisis is so interesting. I feel like we are kind of dealing with our own mortality in our way.
I
Like,
don't know, I
yeah,
guess I grew up with children in my class dying as they weren't dropping like flies daily, but probably every other year,
yeah,
someone with a severe disability died of pneumonia or meningitis. So, in a lot of ways, I'm watching my friends struggle with what I've struggled with all my life.
mm,
Um, and that is a really interesting thing to observe.
mm,
I'm living with Lithuanians. As soon as we said we're on lockdown means something very, very different for someone that grew up in the Soviet Union.
yeah,
And we had to go, okay, back up. No, there aren't going to be police on the street. We're not really in lockdown. It's more of a, lock in. So, in that way, a lot of us in this house have dealt with these existential crises already and know our answers to them.
mm. I think that's such an interesting point you bring up. Our concept of lockdown for each individual is so different. So I grew up in a family where, so I had a dad, I've got a dad with a chronic illness and a sister with Down syndrome. So when I hear the term lockdown, that means, right, the family is together. You don't leave the family. You are going from the kitchen to the hospital and then to the bed and then to a shop in between. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a lockdown.
But until that true emergency happens, we're not going to see society recognize its vulnerability. We're not going to see society coming to terms with its shame and with what it wants to hide, whether it be America's dependence on slavery or the fact that we had a conversation with a friend that we shouldn't have had. With the piece I'm writing for you is similar in that this woman realizes that she is in an abusive relationship when there was very little sign of it before lockdown.
I mean, I can't wait to listen to the piece. I'm very excited. I always love your works as well. Like seeing Schism at the Finborough a couple of years ago, seeing your your curating abilities at Shakespeare's Globe. How going on to onto your creative skills as well. How are you finding being creative in lockdown?
I had written the lockdown being hours and hours and hours of writing, and that doesn't happen. But I'm giving myself grace, particularly because I was sick. But even now, to go, okay, well, I usually get about 500 words down a day.
Yeah.
I usually write something that I'm calling notes from social isolation. And it's about reflections that are going on now as someone who hasn't been out at all during this time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they don't get done, that's okay. You know, maybe I will get out of this without having a play written. But I taught a Lithuanian girl how to count to 3 in English.
Amazing.
And I learned how to control a 2-year-old meltdown and why it happened.
Yeah.
And I was there for a friend when she got stuck in this country and could give her a spare room. That's not nothing.
Absolutely. And there is this pressure, I think, on all artists at the moment to be creative, to be part of creativity. What would you say to those artists?
They're the reason, and you know, religions why there's a day of rest and a year of rest. There's a reason why nature doesn't produce all the time and we have winter. Yes, hopefully this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. If you can put opportunity in quotes, that doesn't mean your brain isn't processing. And that doesn't mean that now is your spring and summer to produce.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And because I think we all feel that energy to write. It's like, you know, I saw this article yesterday, it popped up on my Twitter. Oh, you know, Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein in lockdown. was like, well, she didn't, but it's Mary Shelley, it's not me.
Yeah, well, Mary Shelley was also married to an asshole. Like, I'm not inspiring to be Mary Shelley. I'm sorry, I'm not. This isn't someone that I want to be, even if she did start the genre of science fiction. You're always writing, you're always creating. Even if it's food on a plate, I really believe the subconscious is always putting pieces together, and at some point, it will be time to get it all out.
I think that leads on very, very nicely to our next section, which is all about doing a workshop with emerging writers. So do you want to tell me about what you've developed for us?
Yeah, so I've developed hopefully a tool that won't just help emerging writers, but help people figure out what they want and how to get it. And it's very simple. It's not even mine in a lot of ways. It's a conglomeration of several things that I've read, starting with Mr. Rogers. Because like any good artist, I steal. But I hope in answering these questions, and that's all it is, you figure out what you want and you figure out how to get there. And I would say the longer that you spend on these questions, beyond the 5 minutes that Michelle gives us with the title card, the more specific you can be fearlessly specific, the more successful you will be at achieving these goals. So for this, you need either your laptop or a notebook and a pen. I would also say that if you're like me and you have primary difficulties and you write slower, add in additional time. Because like I said, specificity is absolutely your friend in this. Sometimes we keep our goals very vague so that we can't miss them, but then we never reach them as well. So I want you to take a minute right now and write down all of the people who have loved you to this point in your life. That's a minute, and I want you to know that those people are proud of you and proud of where you've gotten to, regardless of where that is. And if it doesn't feel like enough or it does, okay, for the next 5 minutes, I would like you to write where you would like to see yourself first in 6 months and then in 5 years in terms of your career, your family, and your personal life. Again, be specific. And I would urge you to take more than the 5 minutes. So that was about if you had, everything you wanted and you were living the way you wanted to be. That is what you're running towards. But you also need to run from something. Deep down, we all know that we can improve ourselves. We know our bad habits. We know what we're doing wrong, whether it's drinking too much, spending too much, saying you don't mind when you do, scrolling through Facebook. I want you to take the next 5 minutes and go, if I let those devices loose in my life, where is hell? Where will I end up? Last one. For all the goals you wrote above, I want you to now write 3 steps you can be taking actively right now to move towards those goals yourself. These steps have to be concrete. They have to be able to be put on a to-do list for the day. It can't just be get fit. It needs to be do Pilates every day. It can't just be read a novel. It needs to be write 750 words every day. Be absolutely specific in defining 3 steps for each goal that you can take to move towards the person you want to be. That's 16 minutes. That should begin to give you a direction, regardless of if we're still in lockdown by the time that the airs or not, of moving even when the world is standing still, which I think is something we all want and something that is natural, but something we don't know how to encounter yet.
Amazing. Well, that was amazing. I'm going to be doing that workshop after I speak to you and see what happens. So thank you so much for all your words of wisdom, your insights to what's going on, how to make sense of this, and also just giving us an opportunity to be creative and letting me speak to you.
Thank you. This is a great project, and I can't wait to see it go online.
Amazing. Well, thank you so, so much, Athena. You take care. Keep teaching that toddler how to count in English.
Yeah. Bye, Michelle.
See you.
I thought I was going to change you. I thought I was the one that made you care. So when I wake up and find myself here each morning, freedom gone, the government and tax pay for my clothes. I have found a home, and this one isn't mine. I thought I knew the signs, that I would get out before it was too late. I never thought I would be one of those women who stayed. Others warned me. Those who loved you and those who loved me. Even the ones that saw your pattern would not be broken. The best of my hopes, my attempts, my sacrifices, all futile. I thought you were better. I saw you better as one created by the divine, born with dignity. So when they said, he knows no limits, and will pretend not to understand when you carry the pieces that could be put right, if he would try. I knew you said I made you better, and I assumed that made me different. Grace covers many things, as long as you think you need it. And so I let things go. I said nothing. The little slides and chats with our friends, when I did not push, but I knew a conversation should be had. There was grace enough for both of us, and I refused to be a nag. I could suffer it all as long as I thought it could change you. Who else has done that? I did not know you. I did not know your anger or the fact that you had already changed from what you were to what I saw you to be. The charm, the value of early days, the false palace we built together, now stand hollow, askew. When we became locked down, it crumbled. I did not know that grace could be warped into an excuse. And the women who did not leave have their habitual reasons too. Maybe they, like me, cannot abandon the side of the soul that sees hope in the face of so many transgressions. Who gives dignity to that? As I said, now in isolation, wishing for my world once so bright to end, allowed 1 hour's exercise and told to make no contact. I wonder what there was to change and who was doing the changing.